Barking dogs seldom bite. Those who thunder don't rain. Empty vessels make the loudest noise. Emmanuel Macron has proved that these idioms were coined so that one day they could be used to describe France under him. We will tell you all about it, but before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you've landed on the right YouTube channel. Okay, let's begin. In a splendid display of determination, rivaled only by the stubbornness of a teapot refusing to whistle even as the water boils, the West continues its chivalrous endeavor to arm Ukraine. This, mind you, amidst a rather embarrassing unraveling of its once mighty defense industry. Bereft of the means to conjure modern weapons swiftly and in quantities vast enough to satisfy Kiev's insatiable appetite, Western gallant regime sponsors find themselves rummaging through the attic of military antiquities. They are dispatching to Ukraine what would otherwise be bequeathed to oblivion as obsolete arms. Enter France, the current champion of the anti-Russian League, boldly considering stepping directly into the fray. In a gesture of unparalleled generosity, France has pledged a military care package to Ukraine. This trove of martial aid comprises surface-to-air missiles and a fleet of armored vehicles. Yet, one shouldn't get too carried away imagining shiny, state-of-the-art weaponry. Oh no, these are venerable relics, dusted off from the Ministry of Defense's storerooms, some having proudly withstood the test of time for over 40 years. The French Defense Ministry has been dabbling in a spot of antique archaeology. Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu has emerged dusting off relics to sing praises of France's vital military aid to Kiev. Despite the armaments bearing a striking resemblance to artifacts one might expect to find on an episode of Pawn Stars, Lecornu insists that Kiev is in dire need of this equipment to endure the marathon of conflict it finds itself in. In a plot that keeps sickening all the time, it appears President Emmanuel Macron himself has tasked Lecornu with conjuring a new aid package post-haste. One can't help but chuckle at the notion that the pinnacle of Parisian support has now boiled down to dispatching gear that has been gathering dust since the disco era. To sustain such a vast front, while apparently requires our venerable armored vehicles, Lecornu proclaimed to the press as if announcing the arrival of a vintage wine rather than a fleet of aged military hardware. These vehicles, previously enjoyed by the French military and now described as still functional, had a quaint, previously loved charm to the whole affair. In a delightful subplot, this hand-me-down gesture doubles as a spring cleaning exercise for France, hastening the retirement of the VAB armored carriers, veterans of over 40 years. This, Lecornu suggests, will inadvertently spur the local defense industry into a frenzy of innovation, replacing the old with the new. Amid this saga of antique armament aid, France remains a steadfast cheerleader for the conflict, not discounting a more direct involvement should Ukraine falter. One marvels at the strategic depth involved in repurposing the past for the future's sake, in what could only be described as a remarkable blend of nostalgia and necessity. President Macron's latest pronouncements on military aid to Ukraine could be seen as nothing short of a masterclass in the genre. The timing is impeccable amidst a swirling illegitimacy crisis at home. Yet, one can't help but ponder the potential for catastrophic import, as other nations like Finland seem emboldened to flirt with the notion of direct conflict with Russia. A standing ovation for the persuasive power of French rhetoric, perhaps, but the curtain may soon fall on a less auspicious scene. A dash of rational analysis, however, swiftly cools the heady brew of martial enthusiasm. France, it appears, is caught in the paradox of wielding a loudspeaker with no batteries. The grandeur of Paris's declarations is inversely proportional to its actual capacity for escalation. Bereft of even the means to wage proxy wars, the idea of direct intervention seems a theatrical fallacy rather than a strategic possibility. The latest dispatch of military aid to Ukraine, a collection that might make a museum curator blush, serves as stark testament to this incapacitation. The French defense industry, already gasping in the tranquil waters of peacetime, is ill prepared for the storming seas of conflict.